intentionality that you bring to your brand is what will drive success, and everything else is supplementary to that.
Yeah, the why. I think that's super important. And I think to some people, the why right now might just be money. But I'll tell you what, when the money's not there, you won't want to do it. So you need a better why.
Exactly. Yeah, it has to be bigger than money, because money's going to come and go and you're going to feel depressed and want to give up on it.
Honest Ecommerce is a weekly podcast where we interview direct-to-consumer brand founders and leaders to find out what it takes to start, grow, and scale an online business today. Have you hit a wall with performance marketing on Facebook and Google? It might be time to think about where your next customers are spending their time online. That's where Realize comes in. Realize helps thousands of direct-to-consumer brands to tap into more ad placements across hundreds of premium websites, reaching audiences you just can't find on traditional social channels. With intent-based, contextually relevant ad placements, you can drive real conversions, not just impressions, and expand your acquisition strategy with better data, more control, and higher ROI. Realize helps you build high-performing AI-powered ad experiences backed by 17 years of data. And simple to set up, no bloated dashboards or complicated onboarding, so you can start scaling fast. You can also leverage your own first-party data to retarget people already in your funnel. So if you're ready to go beyond Facebook and Google and start reaching new audiences, head on over to discover.taboola.com/honest, and we can start the new year with a new performance channel. That's discover.taboola.com/honest, discover.taboola.com/honest. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Honest Ecommerce. Today, I'm welcoming to the show the co-founder and CEO of Redland Cotton, a direct-to-consumer brand crafting bedding, towels, and more, all made here in the USA from cotton grown on their family farm in Alabama. Anna Brakefield, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
I'm excited to chat. So I guess typically I'm asking folks, what are the types of products that you're bringing to market there? But your intro greatly described kind of what the products are.
Yeah.
But your story is so great. So I guess, where does this story start? Does it start growing up on a farm? Does it start after college? Like, where do we want to begin?
Yeah, so I guess the story starts with my dad. So he's been farming cotton since the early 80s. He's one of 6 kids, and they grew up on a farm, and out of 6 kids, he was the only one who wanted to make farming his occupation. And so we grew up quite literally in the middle of a cotton field, and I went to college and got a degree in graphic design, and I moved to New York, and I worked in advertising. And then when I got married, I moved to Nashville, and this was in 2014, and I just wasn't feeling it. It wasn't the quality of work that I was used to doing. And my dad approached me with this idea of creating a company that made bedding using the cotton we grew on our farm. And it sounded like a challenge, and it sounded like a way that I could use my background to come back and kind of work on the family farm in a different way. So that's kind of the how I got to this place.
Well, I've already got questions. So historically, was the cotton that was produced on the family farm, was it just like raw materials, or did you have some of these things in place already?
No, historically, it's just sold as a commodity. My dad did put in his own cotton gin in 1994. So we grow the cotton, we harvest it, and we gin it. I know that this is an e-commerce podcast. It's not a manufacturing podcast, but so having the cotton gin allowed him to do his own cleaning. He stored his own cotton, and he would, instead of selling it to a third party who would then sell it on the commodities market, he would do it himself. So I think in every way he was trying to be as vertically integrated and owning the process so that he could get the best price for cotton that he could. So that was obviously a motivating and driving factor, because the price of cotton is very set by global markets. It can be set by drought and horrible weather conditions, and it leaves the farmer out of control. So I think trying to have control was a big motivating factor for him. But no, none of this was in place prior to 2015 when we kind of had the idea.
Okay, so he has this idea and, he wants to take this raw cotton that he has and he needs a partner who better that he believes than his daughter to help come on this journey with him. What does that look like? What are you guys figuring out together?
Yeah, so we made a trip to Cotton Incorporated in Raleigh, North Carolina, and we took our classings, grades of cotton, and said, what can we make with this? And they confirmed for us that the cotton was great quality. We could do whatever we wanted to do with it. The limitations really were within the supply chain here in the United States. We wanted it to be a product made in the USA because my dad grew up in the 80s and 90s, watched the textile industry go away, and that was just central to who we wanted to be. We wanted to make it here. So really the stipulation around what we could make here was more defining than what our cotton could make. So we determined that we wanted to make bed sheets because my dad's sister, I told you he was one of 6. She did a post on his Instagram account and said that she would love a set of sheets out of that good looking North Alabama cotton. And we were also thinking, a set of sheets, like that's pretty big. That would consume a lot of cotton, better than a t-shirt or something. So those were the really great thought out reasons why we landed on bed sheets. So after we landed on what we were going to make, we started to put together our supply chain. We hired a retired textile guy in South Carolina. His name is Jack. He still works with us today. And he introduced us to all the players who are largely just still family-owned businesses who have survived the large sucking sound and are still manufacturing cotton in the United States. And those are our partners today.
Running an e-commerce business means wearing a lot of hats: founder, marketer, customer service, logistics, and let's be honest, sometimes even therapist. But one thing you shouldn't have to stress about: business insurance. That's where Next Insurance comes in. Next is built specifically for small businesses, including e-commerce brands, making it simple to get the right coverage entirely online in just minutes. Whether you sell handmade candles, athletic wear, or subscription boxes, Next helps protect you from the unexpected, from product liability to shipping mishaps and everything in between. And here's the best part: you can save up to 30% on your business insurance and get peace of mind for as low as $1 per day, knowing Next has your back. With transparent pricing, flexible plans, and instant certificates of insurance, Next gives you the confidence to focus on what matters most: growing your store. So if you're ready to protect your business while scaling your brand, head over to nextinsurance.com/honest to get covered today. That's nextinsurance.com/honest. nextinsurance.com/honest. That's amazing. How long did it take from kind of meeting Jack to getting like your first sample of that bedding?
So we started the process in February of 2016. I officially quit my job in May of 2016, and we had our first product in October. I recently did a post on our Instagram account. It was like, crazy things I did when I started this business. And I sold our first sets of sheets off of a charcoal drawing I did on a Squarespace site. That's, I was wasting no time in trying to get a product to market. I was doing blogs. I was taking pictures the whole way, going to different plants and watching the process and kind of taking my would-be customer along with me. So it was a pretty short startup time, really.
Mm-hmm. And so you were immediately trying to sell this product. You weren't waiting until it was done manufacturing, which that is something I'm highlighting here for all the entrepreneurs out there listening that are having their product, try to sell it right now. You're going to learn a lot more about it.
Yeah.
It might save you some headache if it isn't necessarily there yet or isn't solving a need that your customer wants. So trying to sell things before it's done is definitely a game changer in this industry, especially with how quick things can move.
Absolutely. And you almost have product market fit before you have a product. If you can get people bought into the story that you're taking them on.
Hey, everybody, just a quick reminder. Please like this video and subscribe if you haven't. We're releasing interviews like this every week, so don't miss out. Now back to the interview. You were attempting to get customers before during final production. And so you mentioned that looked like blogging, that looked like kind of bringing your potential customer along on this journey of like, this is how the manufacturing process works. Was that just through your own website, or, what did kind of that marketing look like?
Yeah. I had a newsletter. So when you got on our site, you could sign up to be notified. And every time the first batch of cotton that went through the supply chain, every time it hit a new step, we were there. We went to the factory. We went on a tour, and I blogged about it. And I, told my customers about it. We took them out in the cotton field and talked about how the cotton is grown and, why we feel like we're growing a superior crop here and all of the different regenerative practices we do. And this was all before we even had a product to sell.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when I got my first pallet of inventory, not from an overseas ship, but shipped from New Jersey. But when I got my first pallet of inventory, I had 200 orders to fulfill. And that felt like the biggest undertaking in the world.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, my would-be sister-in-law came, and we all packed those 200 orders in my dad's gen office.
I guess my question would be like, you're blogging about this whole journey and putting it out there. And some people feel like they're just like, when they're blogging, they're just putting stuff out into the void. How are you getting eyes on this content and then therefore converting those eyes into emails to sign up to obviously then some of them converted into those orders?
Yeah. I think this was 2016. Organic posting on Instagram and Facebook could kind of get you a little bit further than it does now. In some respects. But there was no viral reels or TikTok or anything at that point, though. But we would post there and drive traffic to the site, get the email signups, and then I would do text and email blasts saying, "Look, essentially your product is at a new step in the journey before it gets to your door." That's kind of how I teased it out.
Yeah. And I'm sure there was just in doing that and building kind of that relationship with your customers, some other, you probably made some advocates that were like, hey, like telling their friends, like, look what I'm doing over here. Look what these people are doing. I think you might be interested in this. Yeah.
We got Southern Living did an article our first season, and that was completely organic and happened just by chance. And I think that is due to the fact that we had created a little bit of hype. Nothing on a big scale, but this was all self-funded. Like I said, I kind of split the baby and kept my job and built this on the side until I just couldn't do it anymore. And we just kept on going from there.
Yeah, let's talk about what happened after. So you get the first production run. You have 200 orders already sold. How many were left in that production run? How, when was the next one? How did things start to compound?
Yeah. So to put anything through a manufacturing process, we had to write a pretty big initial order. So we made 20,000 yards of fabric in our first order. And there's about 7 yards in a sheet set, roughly. So we had enough to have a very, I would consider this depressing now, but like a very solid Christmas season. And launching in October, this was back when like pop-up markets and things were cool too. We did a holiday market in Franklin, Tennessee, in early November, and it did so well. We had to meet someone halfway between Moulton and Franklin, Tennessee to get more inventory so we could continue to do the show the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of a series of events that like got us a little bit of momentum in those first 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
And then reality really slapped us in the face in January and February, as it does every year. But I think after the first 2 to 3 months, we felt like we had something. It was successful. People liked it. And we felt comfortable placing more orders in 2017. But as I said, you get past the holiday buying season, and then you get into January where you actually have to work for the orders. And that's when I felt like the real learning started.
I want to get into that. I really do. But I do want to talk about something that you did at the beginning there that I think is what I hear a lot from other brands that have been successful is you weren't just waiting around for the orders to come into your website. You went to where you thought your customer was. You went to trade shows, you went to markets, you went to, the farmer's market, right? Wherever you think that your customer might be, you went there, you met them, you attempted to sell them a product, and you got their email, I'm assuming.
Yeah. And because we sell pretty large product, in multiple different sizes, it's not like I could take all the inventory to these different trade shows. So what I would do is have the samples there, and then I would take the order and ship it to them, especially if we went to one that was out of state. In the beginning, I mean, we went Austin, Boston, and Atlanta, and we're at Columbus, Ohio.
Hey, that's where I'm from.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, we were trying to get out there in any way possible that wasn't like a huge, massive expense.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think it's very much worth it. It's kind of a bummer that like most of the shows that we did aren't really a thing anymore, but I'm sure there's others that have replaced it. But it's good. It's good to actually get in front of people and meet them face to face and talk to them, especially as the founder of a brand, be in the face.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about that learning curve. Once the holiday sales season sets in, you just placed another large order of product.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to assume it's not moving as well as it did during the Q4 sales season.
Yep. Getting a little scary, a little cash flow. What are we going to do? Kind of situation. And, looking back on it, it's like, why didn't we lean harder into Google and Meta? But got to learn, right? So, what we did next was radio ads.
Interesting.
I know. On XM radio.
How did that work out? I got to know.
I mentioned that my business partner is at the time, he was 50 years old. He's a farmer. He spends most of his time in a pickup truck listening to XM radio. And he felt for sure that's what we should do. And it worked, but not as well as it needed to. So we spent a good bit of money on XM radio and saw growth. But it really took me, so I had my first baby in 2018, and I wasn't making enough money to put her in daycare, and I would stroll her around and listen to the Smart Marketer podcast, with Molly Pittman and Ezra Firestone. And I took their course and I taught myself Facebook ads. And in 2019 is when we really, we were profitable and we were going. And that is when, the Facebook ads were firing. I felt like the queen of the world. The CPMs were great. Amazing. And it carried on into 2020, and then 2021 happened and it just all kind of fell apart. But the learning experience was kind of strange for us because we leaned into an old school format of advertising and then came into digital. And now we're running kind of still a hybrid where we spend on TV almost as much as we do on digital.
Oh, I want to get into all that. I have been in business for nearly 20 years, and very few companies I have hired in that time have performed as well as Electric Eye. They have knowledgeable staff, and our project was delivered on time and on budget. Electric Eye has exceeded my expectations, and I look forward to working with them again. That is a direct quote from one of our clients at Electric Eye. Electric Eye is a Shopify Plus partner that has helped over 100 brands migrate, redesign, and optimize their stores since 2016. If you'd like to increase your conversion rate, average order value, and revenue per session, we are the true Shopify experts you've been looking for. Right now, we're offering a free diagnostic to qualified brands that reach out and mention the podcast. Visit electriceye.io today to schedule a call and send us a message. Find out why we have over 50 5-star reviews in the Shopify partner directory. Again, that's electriceye.io, electriceye.io. If you sell big, bulky, oversized products on Shopify, I'm talking saunas, reformers, ping pong tables, exam tables, you know the pain. Your cart can't automatically show the real price to deliver that product. So maybe you guess a flat rate for your shipping, or there's that obnoxious email us for a quote button, and the buyer just doesn't purchase. That's why Fright built the world's first solution to make merchants' checkouts freight ready for heavy goods. Quote less, ship more. With Fright installed on your Shopify store, your customers see the true cost of shipping, including options for white glove or curbside, lift gates, appointments, even taxes, duties, and tariffs, all automatically calculated for any buyer anywhere in the world. Behind the scenes, Fright books the carrier, generates the bill of landing, dispatches, tracks, and writes the actual shipping costs back to the order, so finance isn't staring at a $0 line item. Prefer to offer free shipping domestically? Go for it. Fright automates the operation behind the scenes. Sell in other countries without local fulfillment facilities or distributors. Ship direct to consumer from your warehouse or even from your factory with accurate landed costs and reliable delivery times at checkout. Quote less and ship more with Fright. Make big and bulky finally buyable on Shopify. Act now to get your store ready for the new year. The first 50 listeners to set their stores up with Fright will actually have Fright cover the first $500 in shipping costs on your orders. Act now to get your store ready for 2026. To take them up on that offer, go to freightright.com/honest. That's FREIGHTRIGHT.com/HONEST to get your free customized quote and start selling your best sellers around the world. Visit freightright.com/honest today. That's freightright.com/honest. I want you to talk to me quickly about making the decision to learn how to do Facebook ads yourself.
Yeah.
One, would you have considered yourself like computer savvy back then? Like, was this something you would ever thought you could do?
Yeah. I mean, I spent a lot of time on Google and YouTube. I taught myself how to put the website together. We did all of our fulfillment ourselves. So I set up loosely we called our warehouse. So all of the all of the technology that went into running ShipStation and everything else. So I felt like I was relatively prepared, but it was one of those situations where I was getting really frustrated and seeing that radio ad bill come in, and I didn't feel like I was getting the bang for my buck, essentially.
Yeah.
And just listening to podcasts and listening to what other people are doing.
All these people talk about how awesome Facebook ads were.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, I can do this. And it was one of those situations where we didn't have money to hire anybody else to do it. So I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. And I remember it was like $2,000 to take the Smart Marketer course. And I remember like texting my dad and being like, I want to take this I want to take this course to learn Facebook ads. And he was like, he still doesn't get it. He's like, he doesn't know. Even though he is on Facebook and posts and like loves it, probably spends it too much time on it. But he was just like, if you feel like it's the right thing to do it. And it was the right thing to do. And it's so funny because like everything I learned during that, I mean, it's still applicable in different ways, but Facebook doesn't operate how I was taught to operate it essentially now.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely changed. And that course is probably different, no longer exists, or is more or less money. Who knows? But the point is that you took it upon yourself to learn that skill. All right. How long were you noodling around in this course until you placed your first ad?
Oh, I placed it pretty immediately. And that's kind of like my MO, I guess, is to like do something and then ask for forgiveness later, or like pretty much you can fix anything. You just have to start. And I was making my own creative because I have a design background. I was making my own videos. I was making my own artwork, and launching as much creative into Facebook. And then just like as I was going about the course, dialing in on the settings and creating the different target audiences and doing the different customer profiles. Honestly, like the real work of marketing and advertising that you kind of don't even have to do now. And it's almost a little disappointing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you don't even have to really be good at it now to be successful.
Yeah. Here's it. It's Facebook's algorithm, and the same with it. So it's Meta now, but Meta and Google's algorithms are so insane. It's kind of getting to the point where you can't be smarter than it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, just let it do its thing and just feed it money and make sure your creative's good.
Yeah. Which is great. And like, it allows you to focus on other things, which is wonderful. But there's a side of me that's a little salty about it because I feel like I put in a lot of work and now other people don't have to put in the work.
Yeah. Do you remember how much you were spending when you first got started?
Oh my gosh. $200 a day would have been a big...
That would have been like we're spending money now.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, you could get a purchase for $10. Like it was great.
And then obviously especially back then, everything's after 2020, everything just went up and never changed, which
I know
it is what it is. Why I was asking a lot around that is just, I know there are some marketers out there, not necessarily marketers, founders, or people that work at smaller brands that they have what I would call product market fit. It sells organically on its own, but it's probably not moving the numbers that it could because they're just scared of paid ads. And I think these days it's more expensive to start to see that traction on Facebook and Google. But I mean, if you see the traction organically, all Facebook and Google are going to do is pour gas on the fire, and it's going to work for you.
Absolutely. And even with the traditional spend on a TV or a radio, if you are spending on those channels, it just amplifies that spend too. It's absolutely necessary.
Oh, I think it's what's so unique and fun about your product is your audience is on those mediums. You know, the USA made textiles, like that resonates with your audience, and those are high demos in those particular means. So I guess one thing it would be like, make sure that your product matches the place in which you're advertising, right? Because I use this example all the time, right? But if you're like selling Harley Davidson inspired t-shirts, I don't think you're going to find much on Pinterest, right? It's like, it's got to make sense where you're putting these ads. But yeah, so yeah, back to you're doing not only still doing some radio, but now TV. Yes.
We don't do any radio now. I think if I was going to lean into that again, I would probably go about it, the podcast route. But yeah, I mean, we spend, it's not 50-50, but maybe closer to 60-40, 40% being a ad buy on Fox News. And it is super successful for us. And you can see it in the numbers. We started testing ads with them in like the fall of 23. And you can see the revenue spike and growth from there. It's been a great partnership, but kind of to your point about like being scared to dip your toe into paid ads. I mean, that's just scary. It's scary to spend $20,000 on an ad. Mm-hmm. They made it really easy to test. to kind of get proof of concept instead of like having to make a big commitment. But I, as I said earlier, I think it has only amplified what we've been able to do on the digital side with that spend too. And our customer is there, like someone who cares about American made goods is that audience.
Absolutely.
So it makes sense.
Now, is there anything I didn't ask you about that you think would resonate with my audience?
I was having a call with a young girl yesterday who is wanting to do something similar with her family farm and have a direct to consumer brand. And the thing that I harped on to her, because I mean, she has an Instagram, she has a website, she's not asking for anything.
What do you mean?
She's not asking for an email. She's not plugging a product or telling the why, like, why are you doing this? Why? And I think that that's what made our launch and continued success possible is the asking early and often.
Yep.
For the sale, for the customer, and to be involved in this journey. I said I graduated with a degree in graphic design. In our senior project at Auburn, we had to concept a company and do all the brand and marketing materials around it. And I essentially pulled that old project out and redid it for Redland Cotton. And in that, you kind of set your intention for the why, and the how, and who your competition is going to be, and what the purpose is. And we're about to come up on 10 years of this business. And I went back and reread what I intentioned in 2016, and it is still the intention in 2025. And I think that intention is what drives success. There's a ton of tactical stuff and learning things that you can do along the way. But I think setting the intention for what you are going to do is really the true driver for success. We intentioned to create a product and create a revival in the American textile industry, and that is still what we preach and do today. So I think that's the only other thing that I would add is that intentionality that you bring to your brand is what will drive success, and everything else is supplementary to that. Yeah,
the why. I think that's super important. And I think some people, the why right now might just be money. But I'll tell you what, when the money's not there, you won't want to do it. So you need a better why.
Exactly. Yeah, it has to be bigger than money, because money's going to come and go and you're going to feel depressed and want to give up on it.
If I've been listening to this podcast, I'm like, wow, these sheets sound amazing. And you know what? I like my goods made here in America. Where should I go? What should I do?
Yeah, you should go to redlandcotton.com and check us out. Our product comes in and out of stock fairly often, just given the nature of our supply chain. So we do a bunch of limited edition launches. And so if you like a style or a print that you see, would scoop it up, because they don't last long.
Awesome. Anna, I cannot thank you enough for coming on the show and sharing all those insights with our audience.
I really appreciate it. It was fun.